I just watched Paddington in Peru, so here's my full spoiler-free thoughts on the best and worst parts of the movie. If you don't know, the premise of this movie is essentially that Aunt Lucy goes missing from her bear retirement home, which leads Paddington and his family to come to Peru to see what happens to her, and they get pulled into all these other bigger schemes going on, obviously. I will say, I think this is easily the weakest of the three Paddington movies, but that doesn't mean it's bad on its own. It has the hijinks that you come here for, the sweet and sincere moments, and the heartwarming scenes. One of the biggest highlights for me was actually the newcomers and new characters in this film, because the first one I'm going to go over is Olivia Colman. She plays this singing nun pretty much that works at the bear retirement home, and she was just having so much fun in this movie that I couldn't help but have fun every time she was on screen. Like, I love seeing legendary actors just get in a silly, goofy movie like this, and you can tell they're just letting loose and doing whatever. And the same is definitely true for Antonio Banderas in this film, because he plays who I can only describe as the Norman Osborn of this universe. He's pretty much gold crazy, and he hears these voices and sees visions of his past family members telling him to do anything to go get the gold. It is such an unbelievably goofy but also charming performance at the same time. Like I said with Olivia Colman, I was having an absolute blast every time he was on screen. It's just so purely entertaining. His interactions with Paddington are really great in this, and he has a great moment towards the end of the film too. That's the highlight for me. One thing that didn't work perfectly for me is some of the replacements in this film. Like, Mrs. Brown got recast from Sally Hawkins to Emily Mortimer, and she's perfectly fine as the character, but there were times where it's just like, I miss Sally Hawkins. You enjoyed her in the first two movies. It would have been nice to see her return. Luckily, it didn't seem like there was any bad blood or anything. She just decided it's time to move on from the role, and everything seemed to go over smoothly. I just kind of missed it, but like I said, she does a good enough job filling in. The director, Paul King, obviously did not come back. He worked on the first two, and he just went and did Wonka. It seems like he's going to be focusing on Wonka 2 instead of this franchise, and there were definitely some moments where like it felt like the film was just trying to imitate his style, but it couldn't quite reach that Paul King style. Like I said, the movie's still very enjoyable overall, and I feel like 90% of people probably won't even notice that they changed the director, because like I said, they try to keep it very similar, but it's just something that I was like, I kind of wish he was still around for this third one. Humor was kind of 50-50 for me. There were some jokes that I was actually laughing at and just found to be really creative. Others kind of fell flat, but I never expect to laugh at like every joke in a movie, so it's not really a negative towards the film. It's just kind of something to know going in. If you found the first two funny, you'll probably find this one pretty funny too. And like I mentioned briefly at the very beginning, is that this film does kind of give you exactly what you want from a Paddington film, as it is incredibly heartwarming. I think the ending is super strong. There's a really great emotional moment towards the end. Paddington was just as lovable as a character in this as he's ever been in the other two films, and I honestly wouldn't mind if they kept making Paddington films going forward. As long as they can keep up this quality and not drop below it, I'd take them any day of the week. Overall, the movie gets a light 8 out of 10 for me. For comparison, I'd give the first Paddington a strong 8 out of 10 and Paddington 2 a 9 out of 10. Now, I know the film doesn't come out till like 2 more months or something. I think it comes out February 14th, so let me know in the comments below your ratings for the first two Paddington films instead while we wait, and click above me to watch another review on the channel.